Hey everybody, it's me, Julian Greystoke. Today I'm wearing my Otter Space shirt. I know I am really late to the game, but what else is new? Talking about An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. Everyone's already talked about this, but who cares? I'm here to talk about it too. Hey guys, this is the world's fastest reminder that you can support me on Patreon and see all kinds of exclusive videos like these ones. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. I'm gonna look at the Goodreads synopsis to make sure that I get all the deets for you, because I'm really behind on book reviews and I want to make sure I remember everything. So let's read the Goodreads synopsis, shall we? The Carls just appeared. Roaming through New York City at 3 a.m., a 23-year-old April May stumbles across a giant sculpture. Delighted by its appearance and craftsmanship, like a 10-foot-tall transformer wearing a suit of samurai armor, April and her friend Andy make a video with it, which Andy uploads to YouTube. The next day, April wakes up to a viral video and a new life. News quickly spreads that there are Carls in dozens of cities around the world, from Beijing to Buenos Aires, and April, as their first documentarian, finds herself at the center of an intense international media spotlight. Seizing the opportunity to make her mark on the world, April now has to deal with the consequences her new particular brand of fame has on her relationships, her safety, and her own identity. And all eyes are on April to figure out not just what the Carls are, but what they want from us. An Absolutely Remarkable Thing grapples with big themes including how social internet is changing fame, rhetoric, and radicalization, how our culture deals with fear and uncertainty, and how vilification and adoration spring from the same dehumanization that follows life in the public eye. So that is the synopsis of An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. First of all, Hank Green. I love Hank Green. I know, I'm old school, I still watch the Vlogbrothers. I love John as well, but Hank. He's adorable, and I love him. And it was cool that he's finally getting into writing himself, because it's always kind of been his brother's realm, and it's interesting to see how they differ. But it is his first book, and I think it's the first book that he has ever written. Like, he may have dabbled a little bit, but I don't think he ever wrote any, like, unpublished books that he put aside. I think this is it. This is his first book, baby. So, how did he do? Honestly, he did pretty well. This book does have a few hallmarks of a first book, which of course it's going to. Even if you're the brother of a famous author, you're still not going to be able to fight your way past those hallmarks of a first book. And naturally, something that is a really big thing for him is that he had a lot more help with this book than most first-timers have, which really helped eliminate some of the big stumbles that first-timers usually make. However, while he did have every advantage, which is not necessarily fair, I do think that he wrote a book that is worthy of publication and was entertaining enough to read. So I'm not gonna be like salty, like, ugh, he got a book published because he had every advantage. He did, and that's why it's published, but at the same time, I do think that he wrote something that is worth having been published. The characters are pretty okay. April herself feels very author insert-y, which of course is, again, a hallmark of a first-time book. But if you do like a character who is a bit flawed, who is a bit opinionated, who does fuck up occasionally, then you'll like April, and I did pretty much. However, the side characters were all pretty shallow. I never really got into that many of them. I did like her bodyguard guy, but mostly just the concept of him. We never really got to know him all that well. I wanted to get to know him more, and that's why I liked him. I was like, tell me your secrets, bodyguard man. But the side characters were never that important to the story, because ultimately it's not a story about characters, it's a story about ideas. Which, from Hank Green, are any of us surprised? The story itself did keep me engaged, and while it wandered off and got on some serious tangents, I was still able to follow it and wanted to keep reading it. I wasn't like dying to keep going, like it wasn't like I couldn't put it down, but at the same time I was never like, let me just listen to something else, because again, I was listening to it. I listen to a lot of books while I'm at work. I do believe that it helped me enjoy this book a lot, that I am familiar with YouTube, I'm familiar with online culture, I'm familiar with Hank Green's life as a person online, and I think if you're not as familiar with that world, some of this book might not speak to you as much. Like, you still will understand it, but I think it spoke to me more and it held my interest more because I do know about things things like YouTube algorithms, about things like internet celebrity, and that kind of thing. I'm just gonna read straight what my note is here. I think Hank did a good job of portraying not only internet fame, but also female internet fame. Though he downplayed it somewhat, not nearly enough people consistently commenting on April's appearance / fuckability, because that happens to me and I'm a nobody, he still did a good job of showing what it's like to be a woman on the internet who's putting herself out there and like has some popularity. Because even if you're a woman, you're unpopular, people still come onto your videos and are like, you're not sexy enough. Thanks. This was a book review, but thanks though. And he did downplay it, so if you're thinking to yourself, oh, it's gonna be a book all about that, he really only brings it up a couple of times, and I think when he did it well. I was curious, one of the things with the Carls is our characters figure out that the Carls want something, some elements from Earth, which they bring to them. One of the elements that they did not bring to the Carls was uranium, and I was really curious what would happen if they had brought uranium to the Carls. How would that have changed the story? Hank Green, if you're watching this, can you tell us? I wasn't a big fan, though, of the fact that April turns out to kind of be a chosen one. I liked the idea that she was just special because she was one of the first people to stumble upon a Carl and to get it what it wanted, not because she was specially chosen. And I don't want to give too much of that away, but I didn't love that. I'm just going to read my note. Hank does have a tendency to value cities and developed countries in this narrative. The whole world working together actually equals those who have the internet working together. Even the viral dream, there's a dream that is like everybody starts having it. When they come in contact, it passes like a virus. Even the viral dream wouldn't reach whole communities of people. Overemphasis on the internet, etc. did hamper the points a little bit, I think. Yeah, a lot of the point of this book is like global cooperation, but like I said in that little blurb, Hank really values cities and like meccas of people that are really close to each other and doesn't take into account like rural people. So apparently if you're rural, you don't get to really participate. People who have poor internet or no internet, you know, undeveloped countries, that kind of thing, don't get to participate in the global voice, and I don't think he really thought of that as much, and I think it does hamper the message of the book. Okay, now I'm going to talk about a spoiler, and if you don't want that spoiler, I will put River Song up here, and when she is gone, that means the spoiler will be over. Okay? And spoiler time. So April dies at the end of this book. Dies. And I feel that you have to be incredibly careful if you're killing a main character. There are very few books where I think it was done well to kill a main character. I think a lot of authors do it, especially newbie authors, because they think it's cool, because they think it's edgy, because they don't really know where to go with that character after this. They think the character has reached the end of their plot, and so they just kill them. And I don't think that it's the best choice for most stories. That's a personal thing. I think that killing off a main character should be done very, very sparingly. And of course, she does come back, because usually that's what happens. If an author kills off a main character, often they come back. A problem that it had in this particular book is like once April is dead, we get a brief time where we're in another character's head, and it just becomes a love fest over the dead character, which I didn't need. Like, all these characters telling us how much they loved April, how much they missed April. It definitely feels like this sort of just self-appreciation on the part of the author to be like, how great was my main character? Here are a bunch of other characters telling you how much they love and miss my main character. I wasn't there for it. Her death was okay. I thought the death itself was okay and done pretty well, but the aftermath of said death I really wasn't on board for. Also, the person who took over for her as the narrator of the story had the exact same voice as her, like narrative voice, and I wasn't there for that either. But again, Hank Green is a new author. It's hard to do, like, make it clear that it's a different character. Okay, spoiler is over. And so is the review. That was basically my thoughts on An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. Did you guys read it? What did you think about it? What did you think of Hank Green as a debut author? Do you think he did a good job? Do you think he didn't deserve to be published because he had every possible advantage? You know, he already had connections. He's got a brother who's a writer to help him. All of these advantages to really help his book get published. Or do you think that this book really did deserve to be published? Comment below and let me know what your thoughts are. Do you watch the Vlogbrothers? Do you even know who Hank Green is? Or am I just real old and like behind the times? I know that YouTube is already like, young people aren't even really watching YouTube anymore, let alone the Vlogbrothers. Although I think a lot of young people still do watch them. But anyway, I'm rambling. If you liked what you saw here, I have more reviews here on my channel. Go check all of them out. There's a lot. There's a lot. So chances are I'll be talking about at least one book that you've heard of. And if you want what you saw here to be higher quality, you can support me on Patreon, where all of your donations go towards getting me better equipment. And you get exclusive content that is not seen here on the regular channel. So go check that out for as little as $1 a month. I post new videos Mondays and Fridays. All the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo, including my Wattpad if you want to check out some of my writing. For ease of your clicking, I also have a book if you'd like to read it. It's called Phoenix. It's for sale on Amazon. Check it out if you want. Or don't. Whatever. It's your life. Anyway, I will see you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye! Well, look at that. It's shout-out time again. We are here to shout out this month's patrons with Lennox, Amanda, Ashley, Celia, Jenny, Kim, Lisa, Lemore, Sabby Panda, and Sarah. And if you want to be great like these awesome people, then you can become my patron over on Patreon.